And welcome back. We know about the deeds of the ATF. We know about the death of Brian Terry. We know about the guns going to Mexican drug cartels. Now there's a new chapter. Ian Garland, a gun shop owner, reported deeds to the ATF and they did nothing. He reported not only to the ATF, but to the FBI and other agencies, proof that this system is not designed to work, proof of selective enforcement. He joins us now to tell us an incredible story that you will only hear here. Thanks for joining us, Ian.
Thank you.
All right, now for our viewers who are not familiar with your case, can you tell us a little bit about how you came involved with the ATF?
Yes, I opened first I moved from California to Chaparral, New Mexico, which is right next to El Paso, and I opened a gun store here in Chaparral and in El Paso, Texas. I was part owner of a gun store, and I started making sales, doing okay, and then I had some government officials from the city of Columbus one day come and buy several firearms. They filled out the appropriate paperwork and passed the background checks, and then they came back a month later and wanted to buy 10. And I said, well, what do you want a 10 for? They said, we need them for our family protection along the border there, some for other officers. They buy, sell, trade them. And I'd already checked with the ATF, and that was okay. So I filled out the appropriate paperwork again. They all passed the background check. That was the mayor, the police chief, the trustee, and a couple of other people there associated with them. And a month later, they'll come and buy some more. Then they'll leave it for a couple of months. And when you buy more than one firearm, I have to fill out a multiple reporting form. And I did that from day one. One copy goes to the ATF, one goes to the local sheriff, and of course you call in the FBI background check. So I notified 3 different agencies for 18 months. And basically they knew from the start these guys were smuggling, what they were up to as far back as 2007. And they let me continue, told me to keep selling 3 times. And next minute, I'm indicted on weapons charges of straw purchase. And I said, well, who did I sell straw purchase to? Aid and abetting. And they said, well, you let him buy for the police officer. I'm like, well, what does that matter? I'd already checked with the ATF. You said that's not a straw purchase. A straw purchase is when you buy for someone who can't.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And then here I am today. They lied in the indictment. They lied at the trial, the plea. And I fought it because these weren't machine guns, and also they used the wrong sentencing guideline book. That's very important. Not only did they lie about the machine guns, I had court documents where they did lie about the wrong sentencing guideline book. And every attorney I've spoken to said that wasn't a lie. They did it on purpose and thought they could get away with it. And Mr. Todd Coberly from Santa Fe, an attorney who stuck with me and fought this, won my freedom on Friday the 13th. And then I was homeless for 5 days, walking around Las Cruces, which was unbelievable. I mean, they kicked me out in the street. I had no phone, no money, no car, no clothes, no ID. Oh, this just gets better.
So let me ask you this, Ian. When you actually went into custody, did you have any property on you?
No, they took it all.
So, well, my question is, did you have any property that needed to be returned to you upon your release?
Oh yes,
Okay.
The only property I have is my laptop. A GPS, which my wife bought me for a Christmas present. I have my camera, and I also have some CDs of our wedding photos. We were married on July 4th, 2007, and they won't give them back, and no one can tell me why. I mean, this is like 3 years now. When can I have my things back? I don't have much left.
So they still haven't supplied you with the devices, the personal effects that you had when you went in?
Oh, yeah, I have nothing. The clothes I was wearing, they're gone. They threw them out.
Wow. This is a horrible story, Ian, and I do regret that we don't have a whole lot of time to go into all the intricate details of it. But I just want to show that our viewers that you're a law-abiding guy. You know, you're doing the background checks, you're doing your due diligence, and I also have information that you actually reported some straw purchases and some other activities that you saw illegally at a gun show.
Absolutely. I complained of what was going on at gun shows, how these people were selling to minors, and everybody and anybody, and they had signs on their table saying no paperwork, no background check. And I had complained to the ATF and said, this is not right. And ATF tell me, oh, well, that's legal. I'm like, okay. So my customers come to me and say they want to go to gun shows, trade, buy, sell, collect. What did I do wrong?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. Now, Ian, we know about straw purchases. We know about private gun sales. Can you explain to us the difference between having a background check with a purchase of a firearm versus with the illegal activity that you witnessed?
Well, I do my background check. It's a 4473 form. The person has to fill it out, name, birthday, social security number, etc. And I call them into the National Background Check Center. That's the FBI. And they give me a yes or no. And they give you a number that you put on the form and it's kept for your record, and you write down the registration number of the firearm and away the person goes. And apparently in Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, that person can walk out the door and make a private sale, and then that firearm is off the books forever. And a private sale, as I said, you can sell to anybody, and the firearm can end up anywhere. And well, they do. You know, I've seen guns change 5 times through private sales within an hour.
Oh. Well, Ian. No, go ahead.
Excuse me, sorry. I had one guy try to bribe me. I called it a Leo incident, and it was well documented by El Paso ATF. He wanted to buy 2 firearms off me. I refused because it wasn't his ID. It was expired. And when I refused, he tried to bribe me $3,000 and the sale price of the firearms. And I said, no, we can't do that. And he left. After trying multiple times, he tried to bribe me that day. I said, no. So I called the police. I made a report. And then the guy follows me to a gun show again. And he just wouldn't leave me alone. Finally, the ATF got involved. Cut a long story short, they said I did an undercover sting with it, which was documented by the ATF. They got the guy. 2 weeks later, I'm down in my El Paso shop. Guess who walks in? Same guy.
Same guy.
I questioned the ATF about it, and they lied to my face. They said, yes, we got the guy. It led to something bigger. We can't talk about it. Thank you very much. I'm like, you guys lied to me.
Oh, yeah.
You wonder why in the end I didn't want to talk to you?
Exactly, because you know as well as everybody else about the ATF Fast and Furious scandal, which you already alluded to, how they're giving guns to Mexican drug cartels, but you, the private seller, the business owner, doing all your sales legally and lawfully, they want to target you. Now, Ian, I want to talk a little bit about your incarceration with the time we have left. You were incarcerated in solitary confinement for over 400 days. Is that correct?
Correct. 473 days
Wow.
in a small cell, freezing, sitting in raw sewage, cleaning it up with my underwear and hands, not once, not twice, multiple times, while they sat there and laughed. And that was at Las Cruces and at CCA in Estancia. I tell you, if my mother could see that, that would kill her. That was unbelievable how I was treated.
Exactly. And people want to say, you know, it's not all the ATF, and I do agree there are plenty of good agents out there, but, you know, the mainstream media spin is that there were just 1 or 2 guys who went out there, went rogue, and gave these guns to Mexican drug cartels. It was very much more well-connected than just a couple of guys.
Well, strange enough, John Dodson, we all know he was the whistleblower. He had had enough. You know, I mean, the government here didn't mind that they were killing thousands of Mexicans, but when one Border Patrol agent was killed, that, you know, John Dodson had enough, and he came forward. And today I met with the Consul General of Mexico and the Attorney General, Assistant Director of the Attorney General of Mexico for about 90 minutes downtown El Paso. And they're pretty PO'd at what happened. I've given them my whole story, and they're going to file an official complaint.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that encounter, your recent encounter?
Yes. The Attorney General?
Yes.
Yeah, I was contacted that they wanted to speak to me. I guess they've never spoken to anybody before on the other side. They've heard the lies from the ATF and the government here, of course. And they were just amazed about the private sales, the straw purchase, how many firearms actually went to Mexico, how many times I was told to keep selling, with another gun dealer here in El Paso, by the way. And that gun dealer looked at me and said, well, if they tell us to keep selling, it must be okay. And he was just amazed. And he's got my whole story. They're going to get back to me, and this is going to go to the head office of Mexico, their highest department. So he tells me. They're pretty PO'd of what happened, I mean, how the guns went to Mexico. They were very interested in how the trace information works. And he said, well, when you put the gun on the form and it goes out the door and that guy sells it privately, what happens then? I said, well, yeah, it's gone. He said, yeah, so it's gone, and how do you trace it? You can't. I mean, you know, they can go find that gun and go back to the original purchaser and say, hey, well, I sold it at a gun show 2 years ago, and that person sold it to someone else, and there's no trace information. I even asked the ATF about that. I said, well, that's pointless. They said, well, yeah, we can't do anything about it because that's legal. Okay, if my customers did that, what did I do wrong? What I did wrong was sell to these people that they knew were smuggling for 18 months and then try to make me a scapegoat because it makes them look pretty bad with egg on their face when I was notifying 3 different departments, 3 different law enforcement departments.
Exactly. Exactly. And if nothing else, they have to say, well, we're not even paying attention to the paperwork that comes in.
Oh, God. You can't believe what happened. I had a guy steal 2 rifles. I found the guy, and...
How did you find him?
Oh, yeah, this story is amazing. I mean, I swear to God, he had a temporary printout. from DMV, which I can take. He had a checkbook that matched, and he was doing the background check, so I'm kind of comfortable with that. 2 weeks later, check bounces. I go to that address, non-existent, phone's gone. I go to El Paso PD. They won't help me. I go to ATF. They don't want to do anything about it. It's just like, too bad, you lost the rifles. I go to Otero County Sheriff's Department. They put them on the database. I wouldn't let the thing go. I went down to DMV in Texas, and I asked them, I said, look, I need to speak to a trooper. A trooper came out, and guess what? He was my customer, one of my customers. I didn't know he was a trooper. Mm-hmm. So he says, come in the back here. And we went over the paperwork, all the ID information I had. He pulled the guy up. It was a white guy in Garland, Texas. The guy who stole from me was black. On the form 4473, one of the things you have to mark down is race. So when I gave the white guy's details and said black, how did that not red flag?
That is very much a red flag. I don't know how they...
And then it gets better. I wouldn't let it go. Finally, the ATF come around and asked me about it. I'm saying, oh, now you're interested after I'm doing all the footwork? A month later, I get a call from a guy who used to work with law enforcement in California. He says, did you lose 2 rifles, black guy, fake ID? I'm like, well, yeah. Well, there's a guy at my neighbor's right now, and the way they're talking about it, it has to be you. And I couldn't get over it. He says, don't worry, I'll see what I can do. A week later, he sends me a photo of the guy, his real name, a photo of his car with the license plate. I run down to the ATF. I'm like, okay, we got the guy. Get my rifles back. I hear nothing from him. I called the trooper. I had his personal cell phone. Nothing. I'm like, what the heck's going on? You know, this guy who was my witness said, hey, did you call him? Because no one's called me. I'm like, well, no one's returning my call. A week later, I get this call at 11:30 at night. Hey, I can't tell you anything about this, but I've been told to drop the case. Click. It was a trooper.
Wow.
My buddy does some more investigation. The guy is a confidential informant with the U.S. Marshal Service.
The guy who gave you the fake ID?
Yep. Yeah,
wow.
Swear to God. Swear to God. You only got my word on the phone here, but I swear to God. Yeah, it just gets better and better. And the marshals who transported me back from South Dakota, they walk into the airport, and I look at the guy and says, don't I know you? And he says, yeah, you know what? I might have bought a gun off you once or twice. He was one of my customers. I had a lot of law enforcement customers. He says to my face, we know you got screwed, dude. You weren't involved with those people. They even said on record during their interviews you had nothing to do with them, but they chose to prosecute you because you make them look so bad, letting them sell guns for 18 months, especially when they had direct connections with Jamie Avila. They knew about these guys for years. So that's what we're trying to get, and I'm trying to get this overturned and justice for this.
Ian Garland, thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you, sir.
That's an incredible story, and I definitely encourage you to go to Ian's site, fastandfuriousjusticenow.org, for more details. And just how Ian is fighting this tyranny, resisting this tyranny, we have to do that as well. And maybe your thing isn't the ATF, maybe it's the NSA, maybe it's the TSA. This is the time to fight, and you can fight by getting involved with the contest, Resist the NSA and TSA Tyranny. You can get the cash prize of $10,000. Make sure you follow all the contest rules and get your submissions in on time. And also, if you like this broadcast and you'd like to see it continue, stop by prisonplanet.tv and get yourself a 5-month free trial. That special going on right now, so get yours today. I'm Jakari Jackson for the InfoWars Nightly News, and we'll see you again tomorrow night.
Now you can watch The Alex Jones Show live as it happens at Infowars.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
More than 60 movies and documentaries all in one place at Infowars.com/show.
The InfoWars crew absolutely loves coffee because we love being awake. And I am somewhat of a connoisseur of coffee. So many times you go to a restaurant or even to a coffee shop and the coffee tastes like garbage. And in all the different coffees I've tried, my favorite is grown in the high mountains, in shade, Arabica, on the border with Guatemala in southern Mexico by the Chiapas farmers. I make sure we've done the research. I make sure it's the very best product that we can offer you when I put my name on it. And I believe, and it's my taste, so you may differ, that this is the best coffee in the world from southern Mexico. Wake Up America Patriot Blend, 100% organic, Arabica shade grown. And then we have the Immune Support 100% organic coffee infused with a special type of mushroom known to boost the immunity.
This coffee is seriously so smooth. I normally have to douse my coffee with cream and sugar and cinnamon and all kinds of tasty treats, but this, I drink this black. It is so good.
Well, that's why I like it, is that it has a kick, it has really good caffeine in it, it has a good clean wake up that lasts for a long time, doesn't give me a headache, but it's so smooth, it's so delicious. Just try it out for yourself. I'm telling you, this is my favorite coffee. We went through a lot of trouble to bring you this. Just try it, and I think you'll be hooked like we are here at InfoWars. Well, folks, find out for yourself and support the information war today. It's all available at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.